morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. I'm Pastor John Woodin, and this is a ministry of Hollywood Faith Christian Center. Well, we're in our discussion of Thanksgiving and being thankful. Colossians chapter 2 says this, "As you therefore have received Christ Jesus the Lord, so walk in him, rooted and built up in him, established in the faith as you have been taught, abounding in it with thanksgiving." Colossians 3 says, "And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to which also you were called in one body, and be thankful." And be thankful. And be thankful. Every time you turn around, Paul is writing, oh, by the way, be thankful. Oh, by the way, give thanks. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your heart to the Lord. You know, sometimes as Christians we forget that we need to encourage one another sometimes, and sometimes we might be having a particularly bad day, and the last thing you need is to hear somebody who's grumbling and complaining or being admonished because, well, you shouldn't have worn a dress so short, or you should have, wear your heels too high, and and all of a sudden you can really knock this person down. And our job is to build them up. In Luke chapter 7, it says this, "And behold, a woman in the city was a sinner, and when he knew that Jesus sat at table in the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil and stood at his feet behind him weeping. And she began to wash his feet with her tears and wipe them with the hair of her head. And she kissed his feet and anointed them with fragrant oil." And of course, the religious authorities, what's the first thing they did? If this man were really a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. But Jesus did know. And in Luke chapter 7, it continues, and he said, he's at the house of Simon the leper. And he says, "Simon, I have a story. Can I tell you something?" And he says, "Surely, teacher." He said there was a certain creditor who had two debtors. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. And when they couldn't pay, he freely forgave them both. "Tell me, therefore, which one will love him more?" And he said, "I suppose the one who he forgave more." And Jesus said, "You have rightly judged." And he returned to the woman and said, "Simon, do you see this woman? I entered your house. You gave me no water for my feet. But she has washed my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You gave me no kiss, but this woman has kissed my feet since I came in. You did not anoint my head with oil, but this woman has anointed my feet with fragrant oil. Therefore I say to you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much, but to whom little is forgiven, the same loves little." Wow. It's the religious spirit that just forces us, drags us into condemnation and judgment. Now it happened as Jesus sat at table in the house that, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and sat down with him. And when Jesus heard it, he said, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? These are terrible people." When Jesus heard that, he said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice." Wow. Don't get caught up in religion and making judgments and being grateful. Look at me. I'm saved. Look at me. Look how far I have come. When you're saying that, you need to go even further and say, "Look at me. I am an unprofitable servant because I'm making judgments about other people versus taking care of my own situation." Remember, be thankful. God bless you. See you again next time.